Good morning, lovelies. Dr. Lucy here. It's a little bit late this morning, 8:22. I had a bit of trouble with my internet connection. I'm not sure what's going on there, and I had to drive somewhere to get a connection so that I could talk to you guys. But, you know, progress, not perfection. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect. It's my mantra for life. As long as I'm moving forward, then all is well. So this week we've talked about uncertainty and fear. And, you know, there is a concept that fear can keep you fat. I don't love using the word to describe a person as being fat because it's stigmatized. But it does make a catchy line, doesn't it? Fear keeps you fat. But anyway, I'm digressing. What I do know, though, is that fear enhances fat storage. How does that sound? So on Monday, we talked about unknown, the uncertainty, and how it is part of our primal response to be fearful of uncertainty. It is in our DNA and it is designed to keep us safe. The problem is that in our modern day, we're not battling, usually direct threats. We're just battling things that are often in our head, and our body response is the same. So we talked about that on Monday and Tuesday. We talked about fear being a paralysis, and that sometimes when there's fear we do nothing, deer in the headlights, and so we don't know what to do, so we do nothing. And again, for eating, it often means we just do what we've always done. We do what has got us overweight in the first place, and when we're fearful we keep doing that. We talked about trust and learning to trust yourself to make that commitment. And if you don't trust yourself, then you're often looking for different pathways because you're not quite sure you're on the right one, or you're not quite sure that you're committed. And that's part of learning again to, I guess, stick to something. Again, you know, it's that thing, well, I've never stuck to something, so why would I stick to something now? Well, you know that saying, nothing changes if nothing changes. So I always say, it doesn't matter if you've never stuck to something before. It doesn't matter if you've fallen off the wagon. It doesn't matter if the wagon went and ran you over. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you do now, not what you did in the past. And what you do now is the story that you need to be telling yourself in your head. Don't watch rewinds of your previous attempts, because all that does is cement the fact that you feel you can't do this. So I think that's a really important point, because we have these stories in our head about what we think we are, or what we think we're capable of, or what we think is going to happen to us. And the story for a lot of people goes, I've tried everything, nothing works, there's no point, I might as well eat the chips. That's the sort of story that we come up with. Or, there's no point, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I might as well enjoy myself and eat the chocolate. Okay, that's a story I hear a lot. Or what about this? I'm hopeless, I can't stick to anything, everything I try, I always fail. Imagine having that as your self-talk. And honestly, lots of people do. Lots of people do. And so I say, it's, you know what, that story, it's like watching reruns of MASH. Out of date. Doesn't apply anymore. In fact, do you want to know a slightly, I'm just sort of talking off the cuff here, but I remember a few years ago, we were on a holiday, and I'd forgotten to take a book. I didn't have a Kindle, so it was obviously quite a while ago. Anyway, I went to the hotel gift shop thing where there's normally books. Anyway, obviously this place, nobody reads any books, because all they had was some old Barbara Cartland books. And I used to buy a book based on the size because I wanted it to last a long time. So anyway, I'm reading this Barbara Cartland novel, and honestly, it was pre-mobile phone. It was written in the 80s or something like that. And the entire plot hinged on the fact that somebody missed a phone call to their home. And I'm thinking, that's just irrelevant now. That just doesn't even make sense. It's just not applicable. So when you're doing story in your head, think back to the 80s Barbara Cartland book. It's not relevant anymore. you can write your own story starting now. And that story can be, I'm doing this, I'm committed, I'm empowered, I've got support, I've got help, I'm doing it. I'm turning up to that coffee date with myself and I'm committing. Anyway, I did have something else I was going to talk to you about today, but I've got distracted in fluffing around about my lack of internet in the car, so I can't remember what that was, but I will save that little pearl of wisdom for another day. So my lovelies, have a wonderful weekend. I hope, wherever you are, the weather is kind. And again, weather is an external force. We can't make any changes to it. So in my head, I always think, right, I can choose to think about this weather in whichever way I want. So I already know the weather is going to be perfect, because it's either going to be sunny and lovely and I'll be able to do a bit of, getting out and getting my vitamin D, or it's going to be cold and rainy, which is fine because the garden needs some water and I'll be in front of the fire reading my book, cozying up. So peeps, take care. See you soon. Bye, lovelies.